Go-ahead baseball coach at Ole Miss on the Farm Bureau guest line. Check out favorites.com and go with the home team, Mississippi Farm Bureau. At the risk of sounding redundant, I'll start this conversation the way I did with both Scott Berry and Chris Lemonis. Mike, sometimes baseball is hard, and it feels like this was one of those weekends where it was hard for a lot of teams.
Yeah, but I don't coach a lot of teams, so I don't know what everybody else did, but yeah, we had a bad week. And so it's been a tough couple days and trying to figure it out. Watch some film and a lot of meetings and trying to figure it out. Obviously not the start of conference play that we wanted.
You've been coaching for a while. It's obviously not the first time that you've gone through a stretch where your team didn't play the way you wanted to or you didn't get the results you wanted to. So as you've kind of gone through some of those things, what have you learned? What have you discovered?
Well, I think it's all different. I think that's one of the things about college baseball and college athletics in general. I mean, it's not, well, hey, when you get swept, this is what happened. I mean, it's every team's different. And so when we look back at this, I think just in general, we played a very good Vanderbilt team on the road that played really well and pitched it really well. And, we combine that with, probably not playing very well ourselves. And, it's a bad mix. And when that happens in our league, it gets ugly. And obviously, 3 games that we just, weren't really close and just a disappointing finish. We gotta do a lot of things better. Obviously, we gotta pitch it better. You can't win a weekend giving up 27 runs, but we gotta hit it better. Only scored 4 runs, and that was the one thing that we were pretty consistent on throughout this season so far was offensively. Some of that your cap, especially Carnival and on day 2 were fabulous, but we got to do a better job offensively, and then defensively, we've been really stellar and. We commit 4 errors in field, so a lot of growing pains there for one weekend.
In terms of the pitching piece of it, you can't go out and trade for new pitchers or add pitchers to your roster through free agency in the middle of the season. So what do you do with your guys in terms of working with them to try and get them to perform at a higher level?
Well, you're exactly right. But the thing is, we well in spots, and the bad part is, we just couldn't get off the field in certain innings and let the score balloon on us. But in each game, you could go back and look where, Jack, I think there was a stretch where he didn't get a hitter out like 4 or 5 at bats. Just a recipe for disaster. Sonia actually without innings, but 5th. He gives up, a 3-run homer or 2-run homer, and
Borky, I hate to do this, but it sounds like we got a bad connection there with Coach Bianco. I don't know if we can try maybe one more time and see if we can get him back on. You're listening to Sports Talk Mississippi, visiting with Mike Bianco, head baseball coach at Ole Miss, on the Farm Bureau guest line. He was kind of talking about the pitchers and their individual performances. I think was kind of the up and down of guys on the mound, talking about Jack Doherty pitching well for stretches and then having a stretch where he kind of ran into some luck that was less fortuitous, and then the same thing with Grayson Saunier and Rivas as well. Ole Miss is back at home this week. They've got Arkansas Pine Bluff tomorrow night in a midweek game, and then this weekend the Rebels host the Florida Gators, who are coming off of a series win at home against Alabama. Won the first game with Brandon Sproat on the mound, and then followed it up and split the final 2 games. I think we've got Mike Bianco again. And, Coach, I think you were just kind of talking about your pitchers with Jack and then with Grayson, kind of having some bright moments and then falling into a spot where they didn't pitch as well.
Yeah, we got to be able to get off the field and make some pitches. When you look, back at it, when you look at the film, when you look back at the charts, I mean, there was some innings where they pitched really well, but then, they gave up a hit, they walked the next guy, we made an error, we just let innings, just kind of compound on us. We got to do a better job. And so that's stuff that I think can get corrected, and part of it's just, maturity and confidence. And I think some of those younger guys and some of those newer guys have pitched a little bit better, but certainly we need more out of them.
You've always put a premium on the catcher position, and I feel like people have always said, Mike Bianco was a catcher, so he cares a lot about catcher. It's just an important piece of baseball, whether you played that position or not. Did you see this coming with Calvin Harris in terms of both what he does behind the plate, handling the pitching staff, but also what he's doing with his bat?
Well, I don't think any of us doubted recruiting him that, he was going to be a catcher, in our program. And you're right, we've had a lot of success with catchers, and we're hard on catchers. There's a high expectation when catchers come into our program. But unfortunately for him, he sat behind a pretty good one in Hayden Dunhurst for a couple of years. Offensively, we thought he had a chance to be a good player. I don't know if we thought he'd, be, the number 3 hitter, in the lineup and carry us like he's carried us to this point. But I'm proud of, the adjustments he's made and how he's grown as a hitter, over the last year. That's for sure.
When you have a weekend like you just had, do you worry at all about the mental piece in terms of disappointment and frustration and guys kind of getting down on themselves? Do you spend some time focusing on that when you kind of go back to practice to make sure everybody's in a good mindset?
I think you always worry about that. I mean, not just when you lose, but I think when you have success too. I think that's part of the game that we've all learned over the last 20 years is the mental game, and you hear so much about the process and present moment. But also part of that mental game is toughness. And being able to handle bad weather, being able to handle bad calls, being able to handle not playing well. And, some of that is not just, making sure you feel good and have confidence. Confidence is an action. You can't give somebody confidence. They either act kind or they don't. It's not something. It's not a gift that you give them. And so, I think we're always, talk about it. We're always concerned about where they are, up and down.
Final thing for you this week, looking ahead, 4 games. Got the midweek game against Arkansas Pine Bluff tomorrow night, and then a pretty talented Florida team coming in this weekend.
Yeah, pretty talented. That's a nice way of saying it. No, they're real good. Tomorrow night we'll start JT Quinn and run a handful of pitchers out there tomorrow. Continue to try to get guys to grow and continue to get better. And then huge challenge, our first home SEC weekend. Weather's supposed to be beautiful, so hopefully we can get back on the winning column.
Mike, thanks so much for your time.